Okay, so hi guys. Today I'll be explaining the orientation part of the orientation chapter, small concept, which is the anatomical positions. I've noticed that a lot of you guys have a serious problem with this part, with this concept. So today I'll try my best to explain it to you. Hopefully it's helpful and it doesn't make you more confused. So I'm gonna start by just reading the terms, then the definitions, then give you read the examples and actually explaining them to you guys. And I also have extra questions just to practice, and I'll pause a bit, or you guys can pause the video to actually answer. Okay, so superior or cranial, inferior or caudal, anterior or ventral, posterior or dorsal, medial or lateral, intermediate or proximal, distal or and superficial or external, deep or internal. So yeah, by the way, if I said any ors here, there's no ors here. They're normal. The ones with the brackets here, these are the ors. Okay, so superior or caudal. What does that mean? What does superior mean? What does cranial mean? Sorry, I meant cranial, not caudal. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, superior or cranial. What does that mean? What does superior mean? If someone is superior to you, what does it mean? It probably means something they're in higher status than you, right? So think of that, but in a body. So basically the definition is toward the head end or upper part of a structure or the body, which they put a small thingy here saying above. It means above basically. So the head, this is the head, obviously. You all know what the head is. The head is superior to the abdomen. Obviously, you also guys know what the abdomen is. The head is superior to the abdomen. It's actually really helpful if you guys follow these arrows. The arrows are important. They give you a sense of direction. If you actually go through these pictures and actually with their arrows and the words, it's helpful. So if you see the word superior, or cranial, you always replace it with the word above. So here it says the head is above the abdomen, which is true, which is correct. Okay, next one, which is the opposite of it, inferior or caudal, which means before telling you what it means, if someone is inferior to you, what does that mean, guys? It means they're obviously probably in a lower status than you, right? They're inferior to you. They're lower than you. So here it says away from the head end or toward the lower part of a structure or the body. Basically saying it means below. So here the navel is inferior to the chin. When you see inferior or you see caudal, you replace it with below. Okay? So you probably guys know what navel is. It's basically where your umbilical cord used to be. And the chin. Here's the chin. So yeah. So the navel is below the chin. Always follow the arrows. They're probably not going to give you these, so remember the pictures in your mind. So the navel is below the chin. It is below the chin. Look. Makes sense. Okay, to the next one. By the way, a really small thing that I want to say. Superior and cranial, they can always play with these examples. So they can literally say the chin is superior to the navel. So they'll basically be saying the chin is above the navel, which is correct. They always play, so don't always depend on these. Okay, next thing. Anterior or ventral. An easy way to remember the word, and then these two mean each other. You have the letter A and you have the letter V. they're basically flipped. If you flip A and you delete the line, it's basically a V. So anterior is ventral. Here they're saying toward or at the front of the body, which is in front of. Anything that's anterior or ventral, it's in front of. So the breastbone, which is here, is anterior to the spine, which is here. So also replace anterior in your mind. Don't actually replace it if they ask you to, like, I don't know, refer to something. Anterior is in front of. So the breastbone is in front of the spine, which is true. Always follow the arrows. I already said that. So the arrow, this is in front of this, obviously. You also have posterior and dorsal. Another dumb way, not really dumb, it's actually smart, because I made it. Posterior and dorsal. You have P and you have the letter D. P is written like this, D is written like this. It's basically, if you flip it, they're the same thing, kinda. So toward or at the back of the body, behind. This is behind you. Anything behind you, anything behind you is posterior to you. So here, the heart, let me draw a small heart here for you guys, is posterior to the breastbone. The breastbone is kind of here, sorry, they're really close, so it's hard to draw on them. So the heart is posterior or behind the breastbone. The heart is behind the breastbone. It makes sense. These also, they can really play with anything that's opposite to each other. They can play with, they can literally say the spine is posterior to the breastbone. Oh, they basically said it. Sorry, guys. They said the same thing. They flipped these. I thought they used different words. Okay, here, medial. Medial toward or at the midline of the body, or on the inner side, which means anything in the middle. Basically referring to the middle. Anything that's more in the middle of the body. I'm talking about the body itself. The whole thing. It's medial. The heart is medial to the arm. Heart is here. The arms, this and this. So the heart is medial to the arm. Yeah, if you think about it, the heart is more in the midline than the arms. So it makes sense. Also, always follow the arrows. They're so important. Lateral. Lateral is away from the midline of the body on the outer side. These two also are kind of the opposite of each other. They are actually the opposite of each other. Away from the midline of the body. Here, away from the midline of the body is telling you that the midline of the body is what they're referring to. So the arms are lateral to the chest. The arms are more away from the midline than the chest, because this is your chest and these are your arms. They're obviously away from it. Also, don't forget, I forgot to say that here, that's your heart is more toward the midline than your arms here. So yeah, these two also they can play with. Here, intermediate. Intermediate, if you think about it, it's like something that's sandwiched between two stuff. Like, imagine a sandwich. I'll draw a very cute sandwich here because I'm hungry. This is the bread. This is lettuce, I guess. And I don't know what this is. And another bread. So anything here, it's intermediate to these two bread pieces. Okay, so yeah. Here you can say intermediate is between a more medial and a more lateral structure. So if you think about it here, the collarbone, which they're here, is intermediate between the breastbone, which is basically kind of in the midline, and the shoulder. Here's the shoulder. It's in the middle between them. There was also an example that our doctor gave us. He said that the eye is intermediate between the nose and the ear, which, let me draw it for you guys. Eye, ear, nose. Okay, he looks scary. The eye is intermediate between the nose, because the nose is more on the medial line, because here they refer more medial and more lateral, one that's more in the middle and one that's more away from the middle line, which is the ear, referring to the ear now. So the eye is intermediate between the nose and the ear. Makes a lot of sense, to me at least. Proximal. Proximal, saying it's basically proximal, closer to what though? Here we're referring to the body trunk, or the attachment, where your head attached, your limbs, stuff like that. So closer to the origin of the body. Origin of the body is your trunk. Okay, so closer to the origin of the body part or other point of attachment of a limb to the body trunk. So the elbow is proximal to the wrist. So let's here refer to it. Here is the elbow. Elbow. Here is the wrist. Wrist. So the elbow, okay, here change proximal to closer. Here, closer. Closer. That's referring to what? Referring to the trunk, this part of your body. So here you can think about it as the elbow is closer to the body trunk than the wrist. Just look at your body and see which one is closer to you. Obviously your wrist is far and your elbow is closer it's closer than the wrist, like referring to it, like think about it as a ratio. Not actually as a ratio, but yeah, think about it like this. This obviously is far. This is close. So this is closer to the body trunk than this, the wrist. Another thing is distal. Distal, it's obviously the opposite of proximal, which is farther from the origin of a body part or the point of attachment of a limb to the body trunk. As we said, the main part is that they're referring to here is the body trunk, which is this amazing part of your body. Okay, so the knee, you know your knee, distal to the thigh. Here you can change distal, or not actually change, like think of it as farther. That's referring, don't forget what are we referring to here. Here we're referring to the body trunk, and other stuff we are not referring to the body trunk. Okay. So the knee, which is here, knee is distal to the thigh. So the knee is farther from your body trunk, from this place, than your thigh. The thigh is closer to your body trunk than your knee. These, again, they can also change between them and like mix them. They can literally say the thigh is proximal to the knee. And as I said, these two refer to the body trunk, like comparing the both of them to the body trunk. You obviously know these two, superficial or external, saying toward or at the surface of the body. These usually refer to layers. So the skin is superficial to the skeletal muscles. Obviously, you know that. So I don't think you need any explanation, these two. And deep is internal, which is away from the body surface. The body surface is anything that's actually like, you know, the body surface is like, it's outside, touching the air, the stuff that people see. Internal, deep, stuff that people don't see. So the lungs are deep to the skin. And here, the skin is superficial to the skeletal muscle. So they can use superficial or external, and they can use deep or internal, depending on it. I'll come to these questions later. Let me just go through these. So you have the median or mid-sagittal plane, which cuts like this. Makes a right and left part. Okay? And here you have the frontal or coronal plane, which is like this, cuts like this, front, back, this makes right, left, and this one here, up and down, which is transverse. They usually ask about transverse, but you need to know all of them, and you actually need to remember which the best for which organ, because here the organs are mentioned. I'm not gonna go through them. You guys please go through them. Okay, so let's start with the questions. Okay, so which of the following means the same thing as anterior? I told you guys that anterior, A, and what's if you flip the A and delete the line? It's a V. So ventral. Ventral is the answer. Which of the following terms refer to behind or toward the back? Behind. Behind means posterior. Posterior is the same as dorsal. So it's dorsal. Okay, so which of the following suggests a location towards the head? Like going wee, like this. It's obviously what? It's superior. Superior. Why did I do this? Okay, superior. Which of the following refers to the term distal? You remember when I said distal, I said anything that is what? Referring away from the trunk. The main thing is the trunk. Here in distal, they are mentioning the body trunk. It's not lateral, because lateral they're talking about the midline. Distal, they mean the body trunk. So here, which of the following refers to the term distal? Farther from the body trunk. No, from the trunk or point of attachment. So that's the answer. Which of the following best describes the location of the chest? Okay, so I need my friend here. Yes, this guy. Okay. So here's the chest. Here's the chest. Here's the vertebral column. Okay? So posterior to the vertebral column, inferior to the vertebral column, superior to the vertebral column, anterior to the vertebral column. So the chest is, look at it. Just look at it. Is the chest posterior, behind the vertebral column? No, it's not. So this is the wrong answer. Is it inferior? Is the chest below the vertebral column? No, it's not. So this is wrong. Is the chest superior, the vertebral column, like above it? No, it's not. So that's also wrong. Is it anterior? Is it in front of? Is the chest in front of the vertebral column? Yes. It's like this. So yes, it is. So this is the correct answer. Okay, here we mentioned there's this question that I just went through for 2 seconds, saying which plane divides the body into left and right side. So something that goes like this. Which one of these divided into two? So let's refer to this. Left and right. It's the median or mid-sagittal. It's another name for it. Median or mid-sagittal. Or you can say sagittal. To be honest, it's the same meaning. I think so. Hopefully it is. I think so. 100%. Okay. Which parts are produced when the body is cut through the transverse plane? You know how transverse is like this? أفقي basically. Okay, wait, let me get my guy here to help me. Transverse, like this. So the ventral and dorsal, which is like anterior and posterior. Look here, for some reason they used ventral and dorsal and anterior and posterior, even though they basically mean the same thing. But like, there are different cases when you use them, but you don't really need to know them right now. Okay, so here, transverse, up and down. But it's not doing that. It's separating it to do stuff. Superior and inferior. So this is the answer. These shouldn't confuse you guys. Guys, if you see two wrong answers and they're just there, don't confuse yourself. Like, if you're sure they're wrong answers, don't be like, doctor, there's two answers that mean the same thing. Don't do that, because it's not that important. They mean the same thing and there's different cases, but like, yeah, that's not that important. Okay, so now for this question. The lungs are blank to the diaphragm. Okay, so this is the lung. I don't know why the lung is purple. Bro's probably been smoking, but I don't think that would make your lung purple. So the lungs are blank to the diaphragm. This is the diaphragm. So referring to this picture, you need to have a mental picture of the organs or the places. Like, you have the body. Please use your mind to navigate your body, kinda, because you obviously know where the organs are. If you don't, that's a problem. Okay, so the lungs are blank to the diaphragm. Are they superior? Are the lungs above the diaphragm? Are they proximal, closer to the diaphragm? Are they below the diaphragm or inferior? Or are they anterior to the diaphragm or in front of? It's not good. It's not that good referring to the simple terms and stuff like these, but just to understand them, refer to a simple thing. But and stuff like these, just mainly focus on the actual terms. Please. Because you can confuse yourself with proximal, closer, and they're very close. It doesn't work like that. Please. Okay, so it is above it. The lungs are above the diaphragm. What does above mean? It's up, like superior. That's the answer. Amazing. The kidneys lie blank to the spine. Let me get my friend again. Where are the kidneys? The kidneys, roughly, they're here. Not sure about that. And here is your spine. Okay, so the kidneys lie blank to the spine. Do they lie lateral, away from the midline? This, like, referring to this, the spine and the midline. Do they lie anterior? Are they in front of the spine? Are they inferior? Are they below the spine? Or are they medial? Are they in the middle of the spine? If you think about it, here, let me make it in green. This is the midline. Okay? So, referring to the actual, here, you have the kidneys, okay? So the kidneys, okay, so I don't know how to explain this to you guys. Hopefully you will understand it. Okay, the spine is in the middle. So referring to the two of them to the midline, the spine, you can use it here as you can navigate as, okay, this is the midline. So what's lateral to the midline? The kidneys. In this case, it's the kidneys. So what makes sense is you choosing lateral, because it's away from the midline. They're away from the midline. They're here. This is the midline. They're going like this. but the actual spine is in the midline. It's basically the midline. So the answer is lateral. The kidneys lie lateral to the spine. Okay, so here, which of the following lies anterior to the rib cage? So again, this guy to help me here. This is the rib cage. It goes like this. By the way, I'm really bad at drawing. So this is the rib cage. What is anterior to it? And I told you guys, have an arrow in mind. Anterior means ventral, and anterior is in front of. So like this. What is in front of your rib cage? Is it your small intestines? Or is it your lungs? Imagine having your lungs here. That's crazy. Is it your stomach? Your stomach gonna be here, like crazy. Or is it breasts? It's obviously breasts because they're outside, like outside your body. So it's breasts. So hopefully you guys, I helped you with this part. I know it's a bit confusing. Text me guys if you have any problem or you still don't understand a part of that, and I'll gladly explain it to you. I don't mind whatever time it is. If you see me in uni, just hit me up and say hi. I don't mind. Or you have any concerns, and I'm always available for you guys. Yeah, so thank you so much for listening to this video, coming this far. Hopefully it was easy, nice, and yeah, that's it. Thank you guys. Hopefully I didn't confuse you. I made it easier for you guys.